Welcome to the FCA Polk Podcast. Our vision is to see Polk County transformed by Jesus Christ through the influence of coaches and athletes by creating disciples that make disciples. Let's go.
Hey, Joseph, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm so glad that you decided to join us today on the podcast. We're excited to learn about you and your CCS FCA leadership team and everything that y'all have going on at school. Before we get started, I got a question for you. All right, Joseph, you play a lot of sports. I know you play basketball and baseball. Would you rather be the best player on your team but be on a losing team, or be the worst player on the team but be on a championship team?
I'd rather be the worst player on the championship team, honestly.
How come? Explain.
So I'd rather have successful teammates and me going downhill than my teammates going downhill and me winning all the time.
Yeah, it's more fun to accomplish something together than it is to fail the task. All right, Joe, so we're going to jump right on into it. So share with me a little bit about your story and how you become to know Jesus.
Okay. So I came to God out of Bible at my church at the time, which was Victory Baptist. For a while, I thought I was saved, and I picked up travel ball as like a alternative on Sundays. So at the revival, they talked about, are you really saved and stuff like that. And I gave my life to Jesus that night. Then later on, about a year or so later, we were at Laguna Beach. My youth pastor at the time, now area director Shane Petty, we were down there at a youth retreat, and they were talking about where you put before the Lord and how it's holding you back. And I realized that night travel ball was my idol. So we threw nickels into the ocean to represent those, and I haven't picked up travel ball since. And now I
Okay.
try to go to church anytime I can.
I love that. So you realized that you was putting something up before Jesus, and now you're all in. I love that. So what made you want to get involved with FCA at Covenant Christian School?
So for a long time, Covenant didn't have an FCA program because we were a private school, and most private schools don't have that. So me and some people came together and talked to Shane about it, and our director, Miss Brittany, loved the idea. So we got FCA at our school. And most people think since you're a private Christian school, you don't have many students that don't go to church. But you'd be shocked about how many students don't go to church. So FCA at CCS is a small knit community of believers that come together and worship God in a small school.
Man, I love that. I love that you guys, even though you're a private school, it's on your heart to make sure every single person in that school knows Jesus. And I love that. So with that being said, what do you want to see accomplished this year at FCA at CCS?
So last year, our biggest huddle was probably 20 to 30 people. Probably not that big compared to Searton Rockmart. But when you have a size school of 100 pre-K through 12, that don't leave you much students in middle school and high school. So our goal this year is to grow a lot more and to eventually get all of our students going to FCA, which I know is crazy, but that's our goal, and to get bigger and better small groups this year.
I love that. I love that you said the word small groups. That kind of jumps us in to the next question a little bit. So how are you and your leadership team planning on discipling your peers this year?
At our school, our teachers can talk about Jesus and stuff because it's a Christian school and we're private. So our teachers will do a morning devotional, and any teacher, when they ask us, do you have anything more to share? Here's somebody who'll say, hey, go follow our Instagram, or please just come to our next huddle. We'll think you enjoy it. And we get a lot of people who come to that. And that gives us our opportunity to share Jesus and anything we want them to know about him. And I think that's awesome.
So tell me a little bit about the leadership team at your school.
So our leadership team is, I'm the second oldest on that team. So we have a young group of guys and females. Our oldest, I think this year, as of right now, is a junior. We're still doing applications right now, but we're a close-knit group of people that known each other for a while now. And we'll come together, talk about SCA and what we want to do, our next huddles, and it normally works out in the glory of God in massive ways we didn't see possible.
So you said last year about 35 to 40 was kind of the tipping point at the max level at the huddles. So what does a huddle typically look like for the kids that haven't been, that may be interested in going? Can you tell us what a huddle normally looks like?
So our huddles, we start off with the icebreaker and snacks. We have a great group of people that do that. We'll have some music going people can just vibe to. Then we'll just go into worship. Then we'll do a lesson. Then our small groups coming in. That's that's when we get people to draw into the message. And me and my buddy Garrett, who run the middle school guys small group, we had some awesome conversations with people that way due to Christ, and we're proud of that for a small Christian school.
Man, I love that. I know I went to a few of y'all's huddles last year, and the games were fun. And both huddles I went to had live worship music, so
Mhm.
that always makes the environment even better, and great place for you guys to worship collectively as a group. So
Well,
jumping from the huddle to something about you. So with FCA, discipleship is very important to us. We don't want just someone to raise their hand for salvation, but we want to help them take their next steps and help them walk with Jesus. So can you tell me about a mentor in your life and what role they might have played in your life and your walk with Jesus?
okay, so the mentor in my life, his name is Will Anderson. He was the former youth pastor at First Baptist. Now he's the children's director at Pleasant Valley North in Rome. But when I first came to First Year Town, we weren't that plugged in well, and Will made sure I was plugged in and came to Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings. And when I was called to ministry, it was at a youth retreat he was running and how to approach God. And he even gave me a book to read on how I can bear myself in my calling to benefit him. Since Will moved around, we're still close, but I would suggest get a good mentor at Will in your life.
I love Will. He's such a good guy with a heart to disciple young people. Such a godly man that loves his family. That's a great mentor to have. So with FCA, what's one experience that's kind of surprised you since you've been a leader? And how long have you been a leader?
So the last part of the question, how long we've been a leader? This is our third or fourth year of having FCA at Covenant, and I was part of the group that was there since day one. So I've seen it when we had one student there to when we had 40. So our growth's been steady the last couple of years. So don't get mad at me what I'm about to say about what shocked me the most. 'Cause one night I felt my turn to do the lessons. So I was like, I don't know why I keep doing this because no people seem to need it. And I was praying to God, use me, use me. I forgot to point out a lesson that night. But God pointed me to the scripture, and I opened it up, and the verse said, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding." And I prayed to Him, use me how you want to use me. I normally have little notes or something. I didn't have notes, and I taught about what I just told you about travel ball and stuff. And that was probably the best lesson I've ever taught, and we gained a soul that day. And our worship person at the time, Maggie Garrett, me and her didn't even talk about the music we're playing, but God lined it up perfectly too about testimonies. So I thought that was awesome, and I'm still got goosebumps about that.
That's exciting. It's great to see how God works in that. So do you know when your first huddle is for Covenant this year?
Okay, it is September 15th, 3 to 4:30. We'll have a good time, and I want all my CCS Rams to come out and support our hardworking FCA staff and leaders this year.
Man, I'm excited and I can't wait. So is there anything else that you want to share about you or maybe about FCA?
So I want to share it with I want to give a shout out to all my fellow leaders, y'all, and keep working at what you are doing. Keep up the good work and run the good race, like Paul said in the Bible.
That's great stuff, man. And then coming up in Cedartown, we have Fields of Faith, October 22nd at Cedartown High School. So I look forward to seeing you there and at your first huddle. Thanks, Joseph, and I'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for listening to the FCA Polk podcast. Before you go, if you want to help us make disciples, please go to fcapolk.org. Check out all the information about the ministry. Grab your cleats and get in the game.